Welcome back to Get Up. Time for a wake-up call. It is Dak Prescott in command. Here is Ian Eagle.
Down, looking for pressure. Dallas goes empty. Prescott, step, throw, flag down, and caught in stride.
Right
Turpin, the speed. He's gone. Touchdown, Cowboys. 86 yards.
You know, that throw to Turpin was Dak Prescott's 30th passing touchdown of the season. Fourth time he's hit the 30 mark in this season. And since 2019, when he first recorded his first 30 touchdown season, no player in the NFL has had more 30 touchdown seasons than my guy, Dak Prescott. So, RC, my question to you is, have the Cowboys wasted Dak's prime?
Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys have collectively wasted Dak's prime. We can't absolve Dak of all of the Cowboys' failures. When you look at failing to spike the ball in 2022,
Niners,
or throwing interceptions versus the Niners, the Aaron Rodgers late drive in, I think it was 2017. There are all of these separate pieces where Dak Prescott was playing high caliber ball. So we can't just focus on 2023 when he was the runner-up to the MVP, or we can't just focus on this season when he plays absolutely out of his mind. But when you talk about this season specifically, Jerry Jones wasted this season of Dak Prescott's career. Jerry Jones knew coming into the season that if he didn't have a decision made for Micah Parsons during the offseason, he was going to set this football team back. And then now with Matt Eberflus as the defensive coordinator, not giving him the pieces to be successful and not even attempting to until the trade deadline, that's on Jerry Jones. And so this isn't about an organizational failure. This isn't about a head coaching failure and Brian Schottenheimer, who did an excellent job. This is about Jerry Jones not preparing this team for the next step on the defensive side of the football when you know you have Dak Prescott and two of the best wide receivers in all of the world to help this offense be an A-plus offense.
So we talked about this yesterday, and I have a list here, Brian, of what they need to do, but it starts by hiring Rex Ryan. We were at the Jets. We saw the combination of Brian Schottenheimer and Rex Ryan. He will bring in stature. He will bring in credibility and moxie. Lower Dak Prescott's cap number. It's way too high. They can fix that. You got to keep George Pickens, preferably on a long-term deal. Go get Trey Hendrickson. Don't screw around. First day of free agency, get the deal done. Guy is massively productive. He'll make Donovan Ezaraku a lot better. And then don't re-sign Javonte Williams, a player I like, but the value of not paying him, invest that money in the defense. Take this offense that has championship underpinnings, tweak it a little bit, bring in your boy Rex. Rex is the perfect compliment for what they need.
Honestly, and I love Rex. Rex would be the worst possible hire for the Dallas Cowboys.
Why is that?
Because Rex wants to be the man. There is nowhere that Rex Ryan walks into now. We're not talking about Baltimore Ravens Rex Ryan. We're talking about the Rex Ryan who everywhere he goes gets to say, I went to 2 AFC championships with Mark Sanchez. The Rex Ryan who every time he speaks about a defensive coordinator or a head coach that can't do their job, he says they should have hired me. A Brian Schottenheimer who even Jerry Jones looked at and said to the rest of the world, I'm taking a chance, who has shown not only is he a great head coach, not only is he a great offensive coordinator, but he is an excellent leader of men. When you look at the adversity that this team went through, Brian Schottenheimer, who was his offensive coordinator, you think Rex Ryan finna go in anywhere and say, I'm going to take the back seat? Hell no. Rex Ryan is not the hire for this team. Maybe for another one, but not for the Dallas Cowboys.
See, you don't know the man. I mean, like we know him, like intimately. Rex would embrace helping Schottenheimer, who helped him, right? Paying it forward, paying it back. And that defense needs an attitude. It's not about the players. They got enough players to be dominant. They just need to be used the right way. They need an attitude. They need an identity. And listen, Rex, his father, once again with Dick, I know they didn't coexist for too long, but you can still man the defensive side of the ball without interfering and trying to over and outshine Brian Schottenheimer. You know, and they have the personalities that can work well with each other, in my opinion. Okay, so if you don't want Rex Ryan, a Rex Ryan type. A Wink Martindale is sitting out there. We were laughing on our production meeting because you thought that I had stole your Cliff Notes, you know what I'm saying? But I slept in yesterday with Chris Kringle, so I didn't see the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, first of all, I agree with what Bart said, but RC, let me push back on this. I think context is everything. I think Rex Ryan, the day he left Buffalo, wouldn't take a coordinator position. And something I shared with him privately is if you want to be a head coach for the third time, which very few ever have, go dominate as a defensive coordinator again, so it's a half a step back for 5 steps forward. And I understand the personalities between Brian and Rex as well as anybody.
They work beautiful together.
I do think it would be complementary because Brian's now established as a head coach where he wasn't a year ago, and you're right about that conversation with Jerry Jones. And if I'm Brian and I have an opportunity to get a free agent like Rex Ryan, like you talk about a force multiplier, a culture setter, I think it's definitely worth the risk.
And listen, Jerry, in my opinion, did not ruin this. He got it right. He couldn't sign Michael Parsons because even with Michael Parsons, that defense was still porous and bottom of the league. So you had to
Mark,
get
you can't have it both ways. Yeah. You just said the defense ain't terrible because of the players. Is they terrible because of the players?
I said they have enough players underneath Rex Ryan because he is a force multiplier. But Michael Parsons, they were horrible with Michael Parsons. They wasn't stopping nobody with or without him.
Horrible with
He just had great plays.
Well, we'll see what they do because they don't have a long.
No Rex slander on my watch. I'm just gonna say that.
Tune in Monday morning at 8 a.m.
Exactly.
Not much money man got me.
Sitting right here.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what Rex got to say Monday. Hey,
my house because of Mike.
We got the latest on a developing story. Big coaching news out of
2-14. That's a terrible job coaching.
But a lot of that is because the Raiders and the Giants have 2-14 levels of talent.
Sure.
It's not Pete Carroll's fault that Geno Smith keeps throwing the ball to the wrong team. I think a lot of what happened to Detroit this year was on the shoulders of the coach. 888 say ESPN. Big Game James is on Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. What's up, James?
What's up, fellas? How you guys doing today?
Doing great, man. What you got for us?
Well, I expect the experts like you guys to really quell these Russian bots from making nonsense claims. In all actuality, the biggest difference was the decimated secondary that we had. Our tight end, Laporta, and our backup tight end was hurt. So we actually did great compared to what we had to work with. It's just that none of our key players, our marquee players like Amon-Ra, Gibbs and Goff weren't hurt, so everybody's looking at like we still should have won.
Hang with me for a second because I want you to address this. Because last year you guys lost Aiden Hutchinson for the year. Like, don't teams have injuries every year? It's not like the Lions were the most injured team in the NFL. This is the nature of the sport. You're going to have some guys get banged up.
We were number 1 or 2 as far as injuries this year, and to have an entire secondary be injured, 3 out of the 4 starters for the entire season, that's ridiculous. Our backups even got injured this year. I'm not making any excuses, but Dan Campbell did great with what he worked with on defense. Our offense, 1, maybe 2 were hurt, and that's why everybody still expects us to win. But there are 2 sides to the ball, offense and defense, and our defense. Shell game the entire season.
Sure. I mean, look, there were a couple of games like that opener and like yesterday where you looked at the Lions and they just couldn't move the ball, which was amazing because they have so many good players on offense. And, they did for lamenting losses in the secondary, as Emmett keeps pointing out, they did change who was calling the plays halfway through the year.
Yeah, and it's not as bad as I think you're seeing on Twitter from these Knitted Kitty 72485. I don't think it's that way. Look, yeah, they had injuries. Every team has injuries. It was a down year. It wasn't a catastrophe. It wasn't embarrassing. It was a down year. They underperformed. I don't look at if Detroit had 5 wins right now, okay, I'd be with you. I'd be like, Dan Campbell failed his team.
Can I stat you? This is not Russian bot stat. This is a legitimate stat.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay.
I think not really. But
okay.
Stats and info, please be with me.
Yeah, please back us up.
Dan Campbell with Ben Johnson, 36-15.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Campbell without Ben Johnson, 11-21-1. Ooh.
Sure.
Who was the real brains of the operation?
I mean, we can say that right now. Let's see exactly what the what the Chicago Bears do? Are they going to run and just go to the Super Bowl easily because Ben Johnson is a savant? And maybe that's the case. I don't know. I can't say it's not. But all I know is all of a sudden is Dan Campbell's not a good coach, and his fire thing is completely ridiculous.
All right, Ghetto Gronk. Do you trust Ghetto Gronk?
Absolutely not. Cool name, but I don't trust Ghetto Gronk, no.
He says Dan Campbell without Ben Johnson, and he has Dan Campbell in the Applebee's uniform in the Applebee's commercial. I mean, say what you want. Mark Zinno works with us on ESPN Radio. He says if Dan Campbell doesn't adjust his coaching style and game management philosophy, the Lions aren't going to win anything. He's a good coach. But being prisoner to his all-gas, no-break mentality has cost his team this year. Okay, there's a little nuance in the situation.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Dan is